Good morning. Today on Spotlight, creating and growing jobs in Michigan and training the workers of today and tomorrow. Why has this state invested so much in its workforce, and is it paying off? We'll ask Stephanie Beckhorn, Director of the Office of Employment and Training for the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, better known as LEO. It's Sunday, December the 15th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. Take me back a little bit. This program started in 2014. At that time, what was the premise, and why did everyone feel as though this was something we needed?
Yeah, back in 2014, when we launched Going Pro Talent Fund, we were looking for a way to help our dual customer, both employers that needed access to talent that has the skills that the business needed, and for workers to help them on their career pathway. And this was an opportunity for short-term employer-driven training. So this is a little unique from some of our other federal programs, that we really want to make it as easy as possible for the employer. They sit down at the table with us, with our partners, to say, this is the skill set I'm looking for, and this is my preferred training. So they're really directing it, and that's a little different than some of our federal programs. So really afforded us the flexibility and opportunity to very quickly meet employment demand and support workers with them upskilling themselves and getting credentials and certificates of value.
And of course, the economy in 2014, certainly different than it is today, but this program is still around.
It is. 10 years later, we are still going strong. This program is supported, strong bipartisan support, a lot of support from our governor, and really to meet the demands, we've continued to evolve. Continuous improvement is what we're striving for, but in those 10 years, over 220,000 individuals have received training, and almost 7,500 businesses have received a grant to really help meet the needs of today. And like you said, different than 10 years ago. So really that employer is saying, okay, today I need this. It was different a few years ago. There's new equipment, there's new technology. And if my employees can have access to that technology and skills, I can grow. The worker can grow, wages can grow, and of course the community can benefit from that investment as well.
Sure. In terms of the funding, because you just recently put out some additional statistics that some you just enumerated and did a great job at doing that. How does it run in terms of the fiscal year, and when do people need to apply for the next one?
Yep, great question. We do run on a fiscal year, which starts October 1st and runs through September. So what we just announced is cycle 1. So for cycle 1, businesses apply in the fall, October, November, and then we announce the award here in December. And that is the first cycle. Majority of the funding currently does go out first cycle. But for employers who may have missed this cycle, or workers who want to take advantage and get access to these dollars to get additional skills and credentials and licensures, cycle 2 will launch in the spring. So there's another opportunity for both businesses and workers to benefit from this program.
Great. And let's sort of separate them. What do the workers get, and what do the businesses get?
Yep. So what the workers get at the end of the day is they get access to training that results in a credential, certificate, licensure, registered apprenticeship program. That is what the worker gets. They get skills that belong to them, right? They are portable, they are stackable, they get credit in some situations, college credit, and that really belongs to that individual throughout their career. Now the employer, who again has said, these are the specific skills that I need to grow my business, they get a workforce that has those skills. So now that business can expand products, diversify maybe what work they're working on, grow their footprint. So it really is a win-win and I'll throw in 2 more wins for the community and for the state, because the more educated workforce we here in Michigan have, the more it benefits all of us.
What kind of businesses
Yeah.
can get these? Do you have to be big, small, medium, and how big of a hoop and hurdle do you have to go through to get it?
All great questions. So we certainly want to invest in priority industries, so industries that are growing, that they're in demand, right? We want to make sure it's a strong investment, and we want that worker that has that job to keep that job and have an opportunity to grow. So industries in demand, it is pretty diverse. Agriculture, construction, energy, healthcare, IT, advanced manufacturing, hospitality, so very broad industries. And who can receive the funds? It's open to any business of any size. But I will tell you, since 2014, 90% of the businesses, so that 7,500 that we talked about, are small businesses, so under 500 employees.
And they always say small business is the backbone of America.
Absolutely.
Anytime you talk to Sandy Barua with the Detroit Regional Chamber or the other chambers or the leader of the state chamber, they're very quick to say that.
Yep, yeah, and we want to support those small businesses, maybe some who don't have a large HR department. You know, we and our local Michigan Works agencies, who play a critical role in administering this grant, they help support those smaller businesses. And the statistic that I love even more than the 90% being small business under 500 is 60% are under 100 employees. So for those small businesses who think, oh, the programs are just for the big companies, nope. And for those bigger companies, we absolutely support with Going Pro Talent Fund Awards some of the largest employers in our state. So if you have a need and you are hiring new individuals or need to train your existing workforce, the Going Pro Talent Fund is a great opportunity for you to explore.
All right, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to give you a chance to catch your breath there for a second.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more questions to Ms. Beckhorn. Stay with us. And welcome back. We're talking to Stephanie Beckhorn, and she is with the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity. All right, let's talk a little bit about, well, you mentioned earlier that this has received bipartisan support. And of course, if it started in 2014, then that was before Governor Whitmer, who's a Democrat, was governor. That would have been Rick Snyder, who was Republican, and it's carried on through. What do you think has been the key to be able to have that bipartisan support? Because that's a word we don't hear a lot anymore, and hopefully we'll hear it a lot more. But we all know how Lansing can be very partisan at times, but you've been able to navigate between that.
Yeah, and I think really what we've done is that support for the business, which is growing and expanding because they have access to talent, really supports and gets a lot of support from individuals. And then we just as much support that worker and that individual who gets access to training. And since Going Pro started, 6 months after training, the average employee has a 9% wage increase. So just think about that 9% increase for not only that worker and that family, but it's reinvested in the community, and the employer has the opportunity to grow and expand. So I think that's really why you have that bipartisan support. The other thing is we try to make it as streamlined and easy application as possible, and take out some of the bureaucracy that we're known for. And some of our federal programs do have a lot of requirements and hoops, if you will. And that's really why I think this also has a lot of support, because businesses are talking to their legislators and workers are talking and saying, this was easy, this was pretty streamlined and straightforward. And we've expanded now to the 2 cycles. It used to be 1, so that continuous improvement. And under Governor Whitmer's administration and with support of the legislature, our money has grown. We started as a $7 million program, and now we're over $55 million. Wow. And those all get back to, I think, at the end of the day, we are meeting individuals where they're at to help them grow and expand, and we're helping those businesses. And I think that really is the support that we've seen to help us grow.
Director Beckhorn, where does the money come from? Is it all state money appropriated, here by our tax dollars, or is some of it federal money?
Great question. It is the $55 million that we have to invest this year is state funded, directed by the legislature. But another very important thing from Going Pro Talent Fund, because we at LEO work so closely with our Michigan Works agencies, they leverage some of their federal dollars to potentially remove barriers or help with training, tools, equipment, fees. And so while the investment up front, that $55 million, is from the state legislature, the funding that really, if you encompass and look at everything, there's leveraged federal dollars, and employers also leverage significantly their dollars. So they're also paying for a part of the training, or they're allowing the worker to participate in the training during work hours. So it's really investment holistically from the state, from the federal government, and from the employer themselves.
On the federal side, is any of that money American Rescue Act money? Because we know a lot of things have been funded through that 10 years ago weren't funded, and a lot of things have happened that have been very good for communities because of that influx of money. But we also know that that money will run out at some point.
Yep. So the federal leverage dollars really is a federal law, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and that is ongoing. So that is independent from the rescue plan dollars. With that being said, we've certainly over the last couple of years used rescue plan dollars to support registered apprenticeship programs to remove barriers. So we are using some of those limited term dollars to help individuals step into and have success with Going Pro Talent Fund. But really the main leverage dollars comes from a federal program that has existed since the 70s, and by happenstance also has strong bipartisan support at the congressional level for some of the same reasons, right? It's really helping move individuals, businesses, and the overall economy throughout all 50 states.
What do you see as the future? 5 years from now, where do you think this program may be? Where do you hope the program is going to be? And how might it need to change?
Great, get that crystal ball out, right? Where I think will evolve, as I ran through some of the priority industries, those will probably change, right? We are in a dynamic economy, and there are investments in new technologies, whether it be artificial intelligence or other industries that are just emerging on the scene. We always want to make sure that we're supporting in those industries that are growing and in demand. So I think the industries could continue to evolve. I think the type of training, right now it's really focused on the job training, classroom training, and registered apprenticeship. Are there some new virtual training aspects, or again, that artificial intelligence? Potentially. I think that's, again, another success of Going Pro is that continuous improvement. Every year we tweak it. Every year we make changes. And we don't do it in a vacuum in Lansing. We are talking to our employers. We're talking to industry associations. We're talking to our Michigan Works agencies. And of course, we're talking to training providers, our community colleges, our four-year institutions, really to understand what they're experiencing and seeing. And so we will continue to do that, and the program will continue to hopefully evolve. And that 9% wage increase, let's get us into double digits. That's what I'd like to see. Let's get 10%, let's get 12%, that really strong return on investment that really helps the individual at the end of the day.
All right, need to take another quick little pause for the calls. We'll come right back to the final segment.
Yep.
And I want to talk about the competition with other states.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Total investment, what would that be in terms of dollars since this all began, way back when?
Yeah, since we began, over $300 million has been invested in Going Pro Talent Fund. And so that $3 million equates to that 220,000 new employees or incumbent workers who have benefited and got skill upgraded, got credentials or degrees or certificates.
Ms. Beckhorn, how do you meet people where they're at?
Great.
Or do you?
We do. You know, when you think about the workforce and the talent system in Michigan, we really.
And the only reason, excuse me for interrupting, the reason I ask that is because the workforce in the workplace has changed so much.
It has.
Particularly in the last 10 years coming out of COVID and all of that.
Yeah, we really want to focus of being an all access, department. We want to meet individuals where they're at, have them understand that there are programs, services, and initiatives to support them as an individual. And so, we want to showcase that if you maybe are working on your high school diploma or don't have it and think, well, going pro probably isn't for me, it absolutely is for you. If you haven't been engaged in the workforce for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, this program can support you. That can help you make that first step to get back into the workforce, to upgrade your skills. And if you're an existing worker or you're an employer who thinks, wow, my field is really evolving and to keep my competitive edge or to grow, I need to do some upskilling, that's not all access for everyone. And so encourage any of your listeners, employers in the region, that first step is to go to your local Michigan Works agency. They can sit down and help determine what programs or services are there to support your specific needs, specifically for the individual, case-by-case basis. And when it comes to Going Pro Talent Fund, it's the Michigan Works Business Service team that will sit down with the employer, help them fill out that application, and get it turned into the state.
I imagine one of the reasons it has received such strong bipartisan support is because of the competition. Mm-hmm. We've heard Governor Whitmer during her term in her State of the State address say Indiana and Illinois and Ohio, we're coming for you. It's friendly competition, but it's competition for businesses, for workers, for who can grow their cities, states, and towns the most and the fastest. How do we compare with other states, whether they're way in the west or in the south or our immediate neighbors?
Yeah, we have multiple tools, right? There's no one silver bullet, but I think under Governor Whitmer's leadership, we're really addressing, again, the business, the worker, the community, supporting the infrastructure, broadband access, water resources, affordable housing. In this program, yes, we're competing with other states. It is really showing and demonstrating where Michigan is at, because since the program began, our labor force participation rate continues to go up. The number of workers in the workforce is expanding. That makes Michigan more competitive to employers who are maybe located in another state. And I'll tell you, it's working, and people are taking notice, because the Congress has a bill pending right now that takes what is Going Pro Talent Fund and puts it in federal legislation, because they see that it works. Businesses are telling them that it works. Short-term, immediate need training. We're not training to say, maybe there's a job for Chuck at the end of the training. The employer is saying, I have a job today for Chuck if he can upskill or get access to this training. And that's the real key difference, and that is making Michigan more competitive, getting more individuals into jobs or increasing their educational attainment rate, getting to that 60% of our working age adults with a high school or industry recognized credential, certificate, or degree. That is making businesses in other states look at Michigan and what we're doing.
How closely do you pay attention to the inflation rate and whether or not they are going to raise or lower interest rates? Right now they're talking about maybe another rate decrease.
Yeah, we certainly keep an eye on it. Rely on our folks at the Treasury Department to watch that too. But we're looking at it because that impacts all things, including the training itself, the wages. It impacts the tools or equipment. Employers may need new equipment that they're going to purchase, and so we watch the dynamics and really are just, with this program, supporting the worker. Again, that 9% wage increase, that is more money in their pocket at the end of the day to help support the needs for them and their family, and it's investing those dollars in their local community.
Okay, final question.
Yes.
I can tell that you're passionate about the work that you do, the job that you have. You've been with it for quite some time, so you know it like the back of your hand. Tell us a little bit about Stephanie Beckhorn. How did you get in this role, and how did you get to this role?
Wow, how did I get into this role? Not many people take a straight line, right into their job.
I know I didn't.
I didn't either. I came into workforce development. That was the first, I entered state government in workforce development, and really from wanting to give back, public service, advocacy. I grew up in a pretty small rural town. My mom and dad were foster parents for 30 years and really saw them advocate and support individuals and want to really help individuals. And that was, while I may not have realized it at that time, it was really impactful in my career. And so coming in and working in workforce and economic development gives myself, my team, our partners throughout the state, the ability to make a difference, to help an individual change the trajectory of their life, help them to get access to education, help them remove barriers. That's a very satisfying and rewarding job. There's always work to do though, so that keeps me on my toes and keeps my team and our partners on our toes, but very, very gratifying to see someone benefit from our program and really watch the dynamics of their life and their career unfold.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming in, sharing all this important information, because nothing is more important than someone having a good job to provide for themselves and their family.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate it. And keep us up to date on everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Very good, and happy holidays to you.
Same to you. Thanks.
Thank you. And we'll be right back with some closing thoughts right after this. Well, that's it for today. Congratulations to Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, on its ranking as the happiest among Michigan's most affluent areas survey that was taken across America. I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. We hope you have a great week.